Hello everybody. It is Wednesday, November the 21st, 2018. It is just past 5:30. So everybody is out of the office right now, and I'm just preparing to go to a listing appointment. I got a listing appointment at 8 o'clock I'm going to be heading to with one of my team members, Celine. So she's going to be meeting me here at 7 o'clock, and we're going to head out for it. But I've been wanting to do this third episode. Episode 1 was a small introduction about myself. Episode 2 was a live video that I did on Instagram that we just put into the podcast world. Now episode 3 is me here, just at the office, wanting to have a little coffee and a chat. And honestly, it's been a wild last 30 days in the real estate market in Toronto, and just in Vaughan and in GTA in general. We have listings, as everybody knows, kind of across the board right now, as we're pretty widespread. The coffee's good, and it's very hot. Yeah, so we have listings across the board, and I don't know, I kind of wanted to come on and kind of give you guys like a day in the life and kind of let you guys know what do I do. I'm sure people ask, Mark, what do you do on a daily basis? What does your typical day look like? So I'll give you an example today. Most of my days start, I'd say, anywhere between 6:30 to 7 o'clock. And why do I say that time? I'm actually trying to transition right now into going into the 5 to 5:30 wake-up call. I did it before, not for long, and the more and more books I read and the more and more people I listen to that are really productive and really successful, they wake up early in the morning. So, I'm always up between 6:30 and 7 anyway, because I got 2 kids, 2 beautiful daughters, a 1 and a bit year old and a 4 and a bit year old, and they wake us up, to say the least. But typically what I'll do when I wake up in the morning, after obviously giving my kids a kiss, they'll run into our room, or I'll go pick up the little one. We usually hang out in bed for 5 or 10 minutes, and then everybody's got to start going into their daily routine. Who's getting ready for school, who's got a shower, who's got to get ready just to start the day. And so I'll probably take, after that first 10 minutes, I'll probably take the next 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, going through emails very quickly. Then what I'll do is I'll for sure go on Instagram and see what I've missed from the night before, any comments that I can reply to, specifically more on my photos, see if there's any serious inquiries that come in. Because I'll tell you guys, I get a lot of DMs, and some of them are just icons, some of them are questions, some of them are replying to my stories. So there are a lot of DMs that come in, and on average, like I'd say every 3 to 4 days, I'm getting anywhere from 100 to 200 inquiries. So I do not clean them up on a daily basis. I actually clean them up every 4 to 5 days. I got my wife calling me on FaceTime. Give me 1 second. Hey, hi, Papa.
She just saw your house's video,
and she loved it. So I'm just literally recording a podcast right now. It's not a video one. It's just an audio podcast. So I have it recording right now. I will call you guys soon. Baba, you look beautiful. Mwah. I'll see you later, okay? I'll call you in a bit. Bye. So there you go. I'm a father. So I lost my train of thought there. Yeah, sorry. So going back to the morning routine, that was just my beautiful little 1-year-old calling me on FaceTime to say what's up. And she was watching one of my videos online with my wife and started calling my name. I love it when I get those calls and those FaceTimes every day from my children. It's the best. But going back to that, so yeah, I'll look at the next 15, 20 minutes where I go through my messages, anything of importance I try and get to right away. Sometimes it's genuinely I don't get a chance to look at it for over a day. I try to get back as soon as I can, but I'll tell you, anybody who actually reaches out to me with something meaningful to say, and if you are someone that's listening to this and you have written to me in the past with something meaningful to say or a question, I always do answer. I'll tell you, I never take it for granted that I get people who are messaging me asking advice or they're just asking things about the real estate market, or, just telling me that I'm motivational for them and what I'm doing. Again, these are things that I love to hear. And honestly, there's no price that can be put on it for someone to actually take time out of their day. And I'll tell you, I do the same thing. I write questions to people too, and I see inspiring things online, and I let people know, hey, you're inspiring me. It's crazy to see how far this chain goes. It really does, because I'm probably saying to that person, hey, you inspire me, and they're saying to the next person that they're inspired by somebody. I think we all need to be inspired by someone, or just good things in life. I actually put up a post last night. It was actually I screenshotted because someone had commented on a picture that I put up almost 3 years ago on Instagram, and this was before the days of having thousands of followers and stuff like that. And it really reminded me that I haven't changed, and I'll never change. And it's cool. Like, I got a lot of followers, but for me, the important thing is I want to put out good content. I try to really put out good content. And this person had wrote to me, what they exactly said to me. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to actually open up my phone, because I screenshotted their story, and I went and posted it on my story thanking them. Because again, this is something from 3 years ago. So they left a comment, and it was I Sales Ninja saying, "It's an old post, but truly speaks volume about the kind of man you are. Good to see that good is still around." And I reposted it with a hashtag saying, "Stay true." Staying true to what you believe in, no matter what your circumstances, is everything. I was brought up with my parents, and my father specifically, that your handshake should be as good as gold. And I've always tried to stay true to that mentality. Like, I'm the type of person that if I say I'm going to do something for you, I'm going to do it for you. This is not something where, like, here, I'll give you an example. In the past, say, for example, there was a deal that was happening and things were close, and it was like, we're a couple $1,000 away. And, I said to my seller, listen, I'm going to take care of that for you. Don't worry about it. We got your number. I'll make up that difference for you. I didn't need to put that in paper for my clients. My clients realized that, hey, this guy's trustworthy. And I've been able to build that kind of trust with my clients, and that is one of the most important things that I would like to say. If people say, Mark, tell people one word that you're proud of that summarizes you. And I would say trustworthy. I was at a house today, and I told a story about a property we had sold for $862,000. My clients, there was a problem with the furnace, and the purchasers said, take $2,000 off of the furnace, even though we know it's $4,000. We'll meet you halfway on it, and we'll do the deal at $860 during the conditional period. My client called me after I let him know, and he said, Mark, look, I'm okay doing it at $860, but if you can save anything or you can try and negotiate something, go ahead and do it. Like, please, it'd be really appreciated. I got that phone call, and I was golfing at the time. Most people say, why'd you even answer your phone? So when clients call me, I don't care where I am. I could be on my honeymoon, and I'm going to answer my phone. And if I don't answer it, you'll rest assured that I will call them back as soon as possible. Everything has to be done in level of importance. But in this case, I saw with my client, knew what we were dealing with, answered the phone, let him know, and I ended up calling the other agent. For the next 4 holes, I didn't golf. I could have done 2 things. And this is where people don't understand. And guys, I'm sorry that I always jump off. Like, we started off in the day in the life to be telling a story right now. But this is the type of business that people always try and worry about how much you're going to charge in commission. I want to get someone who's the cheapest. But they don't realize the impact that a realtor has on the ultimate sale price of the home. Everyone just thinks that, a home gets listed and it's worth something, and that's what someone's going to pay for it. You have somebody representing your home, and that person actually controls a very big part of what you're going to get for your home. And why I say that, and when I tell people about commission, saying it's not always the cheapest guy, you have to go with the guy who's right, because 1% on $1 million is 10 grand. 10 grand's huge. But 10 grand's on the scheme of negotiating on $1 million. It's not really much. It's the difference of a couple words being said or a couple extra points being brought to the attention. And going back to the golf course story about the 2000 on the furnace, I spent the next 4 holes on the phone negotiating with the agent about this $2,000. I knew I wasn't going to be able to negotiate the full 2,000. I knew that. That just would have been wrong because honestly, these people were being very reasonable. They knew the cost was $4K. They were going to split the cost down the middle. But I really wanted to do this for my clients. So we negotiated, and you got to know about negotiating because again, if I went in there with the hard stance of saying, no, I need $2,000, keep it at $862, take the house or leave it, and I could have been very confrontational about it and caused a big problem about it in trying to negotiate that way. But I said to myself, Mark, what's a win here? A win would be meeting halfway on that and saving another $1,000. And people are probably listening to this saying, why are you even wasting your time? You're at the golf course, finish your golf round, deal with it after. If you can get it, you can get it. If you can't, you can't. Big deal. It's $2,000. Let me tell you, I negotiated for the next 4 holes, and we ended up selling that house at $861,000. Did I do that $1,000 for myself? Or did I do it for my clients? I guess you could say a little bit of both. And this goes back to my mentality of wanting to do well. I just want to do well, and I can't sleep at night knowing that I didn't do the best job possible for my clients. It's just not in me. And the easy way out would have been to say, wait 20 minutes, call my client and say, hey, we got to do it at $860. He would have said, no problem, Mark, thanks for trying. And that would have been the end of it. And it wouldn't have changed anybody. But that extra care, like highlight that word, the extra care for my clients, and obviously negotiating experience, got that $1,000 more. So just to give you an idea, I got to run these numbers quickly. You know how much money that was for me? Extra? $25. So when I tell you I do things literally for my clients, that's all it's about, guys. This is a business where you're only as good as your last sale, and you got to make sure that you're always making the right deal. And it's not about the right deal of saying, is it the right number? The right deal means doing good business. And if you do good business, you're going to leave good rapport with your clients and with other agents. And then they're going to want to deal with you in the future. And it's funny, I'm starting to see it more recently, but now when I'm getting phone calls from other agents, they're saying, hey, Mark, I follow you on Instagram, keep doing such a good job. And there's so many positive vibes that come from these agents. And again, we're all in the business together. We're not in competition. There is so much real estate that there's enough business for a lot of people. And you just have to be the person that does good business. And unfortunately, with the rise of social media and the everything in your face kind of mentality just in life, people feel the need to compete. People feel the need to want to show off or pretend to show off and tell people things that are not actually true just to make it look good online. That's not what it's about, because I think at the end of the day, being as transparent as we are, being as truthful as we are, and putting everything out there, like if people want to know what we do, we put it online. We show people what we do. We pre-inspect properties. We get the best photos and videos. We do drone work. I do video walkthroughs. I go live at people's houses. I'm always putting stuff on my stories. So my thing is I'm trying to generate as much interest as possible for people on these homes, because that's going to make my job easier to sell it. So why wouldn't I do it? And if I could say anything positive to any realtors out there that are listening in specific, guys, stop being afraid. Like, just do it. Get behind the camera. Sure, you might look awkward the first couple times. So maybe, you know what? Instead of going live for the first time ever, why don't you do a practice video? Why don't you sit there with your phone and just practice? Practice makes perfect. I think I'm okay at doing videos. People say to me, Mark, oh my God, you're so good at doing videos. And Guys, it wasn't like this day one. It was so funny. I was actually, after that message the other day about that old picture I posted, which I didn't even finish telling the story, I looked at my old stuff and I was like, oh my God, look how funny this was 2 years ago. It was still all right, but it wasn't refined. But I did it. And nobody was doing it. And I really think that everybody should just be you. And you know what? Maybe video's not for you. Maybe doing something like this is for you. Doing a podcast. Again, did I ever think that I'd be doing a podcast? No. You know, I've little time enough right now, you know, just from work and family and, you know, okay, this is a 20-minute segment, but I think it's important and it's something that I want to do, so I'm going to make time for it and do it. One thing, and I don't know if this is about being selfish. I never looked at it that way, but I've always done things in life that either set a goal for or something that I wanted. And if there was something I wanted, I would do whatever it took to get it. Whether that means working harder, putting in more hours, going outside my comfort zone. I just did it. I'm a believer that anybody can have whatever they want in life. And my dad used to tell me that all the time. If you want it, get it. There's so many things that we could sit there and say, no, I can't. I can't do it. Why can't you do it? And trust me, guys, I know there's a lot of obstacles. I deal with them on the daily basis. You know, I'm not trying to sit here and make it seem like I'm perfect or my life's perfect or anything like that. I'm just trying to motivate people and, you know, let people know, like, I'm a 33, turning 34-year-old broker. I've been in the business since I was 20. So I've been doing this for 13 years right now. After 3 years in the business, I was put to a point where I had to make a very big decision. It was when my father had a stroke. My father had Euromart Realty, and I don't know if I talked about this in my first podcast, and if I didn't, I'm a goof, because my father is the most influential person in my life, personally and business-wise. My father's no longer with me. He's been gone since 2011. My dad was a real estate broker. And from the mid-'80s, he started in the mid-'60s, but from the mid-'80s on, he only sold land. So he was literally Euromart Realty with a business card. No web page, no nothing. So when he got sick and had his stroke, I was 24 years old, and I said, what am I going to do? I can't let this company go to waste. I was 23 or 24. It was 2009. And by March of 2000, he had the stroke in September 2009. By March of 2009, Euromart Realty, I took over as the broker of record. I got my broker's license. I rebranded the company name and tried to bring it to the residential sector. And let me tell you, I was working from home. Understand that. A brokerage. I was working from home. I didn't have a fancy office. I had a home address. And I said to myself, this was a big decision. I was very comfortable, already making 6 figures at Royal LePage. And I had a beautiful setup there. But I knew, to me, this was so important. And I knew at the end of it, I could make it. So why wouldn't I do it? And I realized at that point, people want to work with me. They don't care who I work for. And the wrong mentality, and I've been hearing it for the last, especially since I switched over from Royal LePage to Euromart Realty, which is an independent brokerage, guys. Still to this day, I only have 5 people who work with me. But I've realized that people want to work with me for me. It's because they want to work with Mark Salerno. They want to work with the Salerno real estate team. They don't care who the brokerage is behind me. A lot of other realtors, unfortunately, especially new realtors, are brainwashed into the mentality of thinking, I have to go work for the office with the most people at it, with the biggest brand name, because that's going to get me business. That's as far from the truth as you can actually think about it. And I think the number one thing, and it is just from experience, when I signed up with Royal LePage, at the time, my dad sent me there. He wanted me to get experience. There was nothing for me to do with him. He was selling land. I wanted to sell houses at the time. And I sat down with Jack Fusco, I'll never forget. Great manager. He's still a manager with Royal LePage, but with a different brokerage. And I felt comfortable. So that for me was, okay, I want to work here. I feel comfortable here. I put myself there. Guys, I don't know if I would ever switched if what happened to my dad didn't happen. Maybe at this point I would have, just for the sake because of the family tie to it. But I see it all the time, and it's really unfortunate. I see new agents come into the business, and they're lured in by these big brokerages, promising, come work for us. We're the number one company in the world. It's going to get you going places. And then before you know it, these poor agents are into the business 5-6 months. They're neck high in desk fees, and they haven't sold a property. And then they sit there and say, what happened? I thought I was supposed to come work for this big company, and I was going to get all this business because people... Stop. The next time you sit at a listing presentation, don't talk about your company. Even if you work for the biggest company in the world, tell people about you. What are you going to do for them? Because let me tell you something. When something's going wrong at their house, or there's an issue that needs to be dealt with, or they need someone to talk to, who are they going to call? Are they going to call your company, or they're going to call your cell phone? Because they need to speak to you because they trust you and they want you. So that's just a food for thought. Now going back to a little off topic there. Going back to, what happens during the day. Typically, I'll go to the gym when I can in the morning. And this is something that I am trying as hard as I can because it's not a secret, guys. I have had problem with my weight since I was in, high school. I was always, and actually I don't want to say high school, probably from when I was a kid. And it was more that I was self-conscious about it. So getting to the gym, I know, is a huge part of my life. And I have to stay healthy because when I stay healthy, I feel healthy. I'm more confident. It helps at work. It helps with my mood. So that's a very big part. I try to get to the gym as often as I can. And this year's been a better year for me, to say the least, because I yo-yo all the time. But this year's been a little bit more consistent. So that I'm happy about. Still a ways to go on that. But again, it's a slow process. Things don't just happen overnight. So after the gym, I'll typically come straight to the office if I don't have any appointments set up. So I'll typically come into the office and talk with the team and talk with my assistant, and we'll talk about what's going on, like what's happening today. Let's go through some of the showings that happened last night. Let's call for feedback because these are things that are very important so we can update our clients. Now, not all the time do we get feedback because sometimes agents don't want to answer back, and that's totally fine with them, not a problem, but we have to make that call. So we'll make all our feedback calls. We'll look and see what's happening around our listings. What's the current market like in those areas? So we're so inapt with what's going on in the background. Now, I may not speak to my client for that week, but all these things are happening in the background. This is not like a set it and forget it situation. MLS it, forget about it. No. We're thinking about our clients' properties every day. And there's a lot of stuff that goes into the back end of it. And I'm not saying every realtor does that, but that's what we do. It's very important to stay on top of that. So I'll probably do that depending. Some days it's an hour, some days it takes 3 hours. Then I try to book my appointments in. So all my appointments are preset. We have to have them set because when someone calls you and says, hey, can you be available Wednesday night at 8 o'clock? I have to be able to go into my appointment log and say, hey, you know what? I'm busy at that time. Or yes, I can do that. So that scheduling is a very important part. I was really horrible with that. I'm getting a lot better with that because I do a lot of work off the cuff. It's my style. Nothing is pre-planned. Nothing is pre-scripted like this podcast. Before coming in on this podcast, I said, what am I going to talk about? And I'm here now 23 minutes or 24 minutes in. And we talked about a lot of stuff. Guys, I want to provide value for people. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. And I keep telling people, if I can do better for myself and it's going to help everybody else, like, why would I not do it? If people are coming to me and saying, hey, Mark, you're really inspirational for me, I want to do whatever I can to help that person. Because again, I never thought that it would be a point where my real estate business would go outside of the real estate business to the point where people actually are caring about what I'm doing aside from my clients, because they obviously care, because my production is dependent on it. And that's going to affect their bottom line when selling their house or buying with us. Technology changes. There's so many different things that you have to be on top of every day. And this is just another one of those things that we want to add in. We're looking to build our YouTube side. We have a great Instagram presence across the board, which is spectacular. We're just trying to do better. And that's what it comes down to. You can't be complacent. You have to really think about, what can I do next? What can I do to provide better value for my clients? So again, it's 6:05 right now. If you have a couple of appointments, you're running around, you're checking up on properties. Then all of a sudden, it's now later at night. Most nights we have appointments set up. I try and make it a priority to have dinner with my family, but unfortunately I can't every day. And again, I was talking about saying I can't, but again, if you're working, when you're in real estate, your time is whatever your client's time is. And I work a lot, and I love to work. And it's sometimes difficult finding that balance. I think this year, if I'm not mistaken, we've closed, I want to say 61 deals to this point. 67, somewhere in the 60s, 67 I think it is. Not including November. That means you're busy. It means you're doing a lot of deals. We're inside the top 65 in Ontario right now, over 50,000 agents. That is such a magnificent feat that I never thought was imaginable. You dream of it. You dream of being successful, and you dream of doing well, and you just want, when you're a competitor, you want to be the best. Right now, we're ranked third in Vaughan. You go outside of Vaughan, and I think you add into Toronto, Innisfil, King Township, and I want to say Newmarket. I think we were top, I want to say 36. The numbers, I don't have the stats in front of me, and again, I could be wrong about these, but we looked at them last week because I just got a new program, and it's astonishing to see. It's like when you're a kid and you're playing sports and you can check the stats. Took me 13 years to realize there's a program that provides you with that, which is great because we're setting goals. It's always about, at least for me, if you can do better, why not do better? Seriously. I'm not the type of person to sit back and just be happy with whatever. I tell this story and I talk about things like this. Guys, last year, I was still on a work, because I had opened an office in 2013. I closed it after a year and a half. I tied up a lot of money in it, and I said, you know what? I'm not recruiting. What am I doing here? It doesn't make sense. Went back to working from home. I had an at-home office. Here, put it this way. I had a signing office in the village, which was literally a 10 by 11 room or a 10 by 10 room, that if I was in the village of Kleinberg and I wanted to meet somebody for a coffee and go and sign documents, which I used it 10 times in 12 months, just to give you an idea. And I was working from home. I still had an at-home office. Last year, 2017. And I had this signing office. Do you know why I had the signing office? Not because I needed a physical space. I didn't need the physical space. I'm going to clients' houses to meet them. It was only me. I didn't have my team. I didn't have an assistant. I didn't have any of that. I did it because it was beside Starbucks. And it was costing me, I think, $5.50 a month to have my signage in the Starbucks parking lot. So that was a strategic play from me at that point on why we did it. We had a really good year last year. But I sat there and said to myself, Mark, you just had your best year ever. Fantastic. This is great. So you might ask the question, why so many changes over the last year? Over the last year, I've hired 3 team members. I've hired an assistant. I've hired an in-house media that works full-time. I've set up an office with 1,200 square feet. Got rid of the work-from-home office. Got rid of the signing office. You ask, why do you do this? Is it to make more money? No, it's not to make more money, because I had a great year last year. And if I can continue the years like I had last year and the year before, I can be so content. The problem that clicked in my mind was, Mark, you can do more. And this is the mentality of getting that $1,000 extra. If you can do it, why not do it? And guess what? If you try and you fail, it's okay. But not knowing is something that would eat at me. I've done it many times in my life. I was an athlete growing up. Starting from grade 8, I still think till this day, I got accepted to St. Michael's College. They've been in the news for the wrong reasons over the last couple weeks. But out of, I think, 11 of us that wrote the exam, I was the only one that didn't get in. Sorry, let me repeat that. Out of 11 of us, I was the only one who got in. I did not end up going to that school. I was a well-recognized athlete in the GTA, probably. I can go as far as saying that, in grade 8. So I had a lot of opportunity and a lot of upside in the sports world, let's call it. But I decided not to go to St. Mike's because I wanted to go where my friends were. Schools that weren't in tune with playing sports. And I sit to this day and say, what if? And that's something from the sports side of things that till this day, you know what? It's something that I think about. Obviously, the right decisions were made because I have a beautiful life with beautiful family and a beautiful wife and a great job and a great thriving business. But it's one of those things that I will never do anything else in my life thinking what if. Because what if is something that is an unknown. When you can do it, try it. So I took this beautiful setup I had last year and brought it to a team level. Because I said, if I can do well, what would be more beautiful than doing well with others? Hence my team. Hence my assistant. Hence my video and media guy. Why can't we all thrive together? Because let me tell you something. Being someone who played in sports and was competitive his whole life, it's nice to do well with others. It just really is. So I took that chance, and we've increased business this year, I think, by 36% so far. And we haven't reached the end of the year yet. So it looks like it's been a good decision so far. And I'll tell you, it makes waking up every morning, even before this, because for me, guys, real estate is my life. It really is. It's almost over the top where people say to me, Mark, you got to slow down. And I wake up every morning feeling like I don't work, which is scary because I work on average 12 to 14 hours a day. But the joy that I get waking up, having a team with me and having these people to talk to, because again, I'm not in a big office. I'm in a small office. And having these people to talk to and share success with, it's priceless. And it really is amazing. And I love the fact that I have the great team members that I do. And I could sit here with 150% confidence saying whether it's myself or whether it's any of my team members who are serving our clients, they are all getting the exact same spectacular treatment. So I have to actually end this podcast for today, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we actually did get a couple of emails with people on what they wanted to talk about. So I'm going to touch base with those. I kind of rambled today. I don't know what direction I'm going to go with these podcasts, to be honest. It might just be times where I pop on like this and then upload online. Or, some of the other ones I'm going to start incorporating in are going to be the YouTube videos where we're streaming live on Instagram and then have the Q&As on there, because I love doing that also. But I just want to thank everybody who took the time to actually listen to episode 3 today. I hope everyone has a fantastic day. And again, never hesitate to reach out to me. You can send me an email, marksalerno@euromartrealty.ca, or you can reach me on Instagram @Salerno Real Estate. You guys are the best. I love you. Happy Wednesday, and I hope you all have a great night.